Thanks, friends, for the 3,000 likes and 400 comments in the videos, and I hope this video reaches the same number. And thanks to everyone who supported the channel financially, I really appreciate it. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We want to reach 20,000 subscribers. Then Ryu said to himself, "It's finally time for it to appear." Ryu was mentally prepared when the awaited boss monster appeared. At that moment, one player inquired, "What's that? What's this sound?" Another said, "The ground is shaking." The reason for the shaking was none other than an over 6-meter tall monster, the strongest on the ground, an ogre. It was the appearance of the 8th round boss monster, and despite its large frame, it moved agilely and swiped its hand like swatting a fly, and a player, unable to react in time, was squashed and died. Then several players surrounded the ogre, or rather, the ogre had allowed them to surround it, as it was better for the ogre to take them all at once from its point of view. With swinging a club as thick as a minotaur, the players were knocked away without a chance to dodge. Then he stepped on them and smashed their heads with the club or palms, and with every attack from the ogre, players died hopelessly. One player shouted, "Damn it! What is that? The ogre is that strong? There must be an error, right?" Already 30 bodies lay dead because of one ogre, and the number was increasing. Then darkness engulfed the surroundings. One player said, "What? Black Scythe?" Players looking around saw Ryu extending the death scythe, calm as if waiting for this moment. It was time to try his newly learned skill. "Crimson Moon!" Then Ryu's eyes seemed to turn red and a flash of light appeared. The ogre startled by the sudden darkness, and he noticed the beam of light and the club was sliced in half, and a long scar appeared across the ogre's chest, and the second beam of light cut even deeper across the chest. Then the ogre raised its hand in pain, but the third light sliced off its forearm, and the fourth flash cut through the neck, and the fifth sliced the falling body once more. What happened in just 10 seconds was clearly witnessed by the players. In fact, Black Scythe was an opponent not even thousands of players could defeat. And as the darkness lifted and Ryu turned around, he saw the archbishop staring with his mouth half open. Ryu now confirmed that the archbishop was watching him slaughtering the ogre, and surely a strong impression had been made. Then Ryu said to himself, "Shouldn't you at least share your thoughts after watching the show?" He was now waiting to be called, but he couldn't ignore the eyes around him that looked at him with great intensity. And one player said, "To use such an unbelievable skill 5 times in a row? Crazy. What kind of job is that?" Another said, "Black Scythe is truly legendary." It seemed Ryu had successfully caught the attention of other players as well. Among them was An Sang-cheol, who said to himself, "I must be crazy to think of catching up with that monster. Only now you, bastard, realize how great our boy Ryu is." And Sang-cheol had belatedly realized his place after this incident. Then Ryu glanced at the message that appeared. "You have defeated the ogre. Experience points triple buff is applied. Tidal effect increases experience points by 1.5 times. Experience plus 16.37%. Gold plus 12,000. Additional gold plus 6,000. You have obtained Ogre's Gauntlet. You have obtained Ogre's Heart. And since it was designated as a boss, items that usually wouldn't appear did. Ogre's Gauntlet. Category, gloves. Grade, unique. Defense, 180. Effect, strength plus 30. Additional strength plus 30 when facing ground monsters. Durability, 3,000/3,000. Usage restriction, expert rank or higher. Description, the Gauntlet of the Ogre, known as the Predator of Ground Monsters. It significantly increases strength. Ryu chuckled at the sight of the gauntlet and said, "A unique item has appeared. Although unique, this item exhibited legendary grade options against ground monsters. And since it was better than the shadow gloves Ryu was currently wearing, he immediately equipped it. He also installed the highest grade magic stone he had into the ogre's gauntlet. And the next item was Ogre's Heart. Category, possession. Description, a hard, dark, red stone. Despite its appearance, it's not a real heart, so no need to worry. In fact, the ogre's heart is a legendary grade material item, and this too was an item Ryu needed. So he stored it in his inventory, and he said to himself, "I'll have to combine some legendaries next time." While he was thinking this, the captain of the escort approached. and said, "Hello, warrior from the other world. I watched your battle just now. To kill that fearsome ogre in an instant. This is why people hire warriors from other worlds as escorts." Ryu was about to say, "You didn't come here just to say something pointless, did you?" That thought reached his throat, but Ryu held back and asked, "What do you want?" He replied, "Oh my, it's nothing else. The archbishop wishes to see you." Ryu inquired, "Me?" He replied, "Yes. It seems the archbishop was deeply impressed by your battle." Ryu asked, "Understood. Where should I go?" He said, "This way." Following the captain, Ryu stopped in front of the carriage the archbishop was in. As the door opened, the archbishop gestured for him to come in and said, "Sit." Sitting opposite, the door of the carriage closed, and after a moment of silence, the archbishop spoke first. "To get straight to the point, I've called you here to make an offer." Ryu inquired, "An offer?" He said, "As someone in a high position, I'm subjected to various threats, and am looking for a personal bodyguard to stay by my side for a long time." Then the archbishop said with an arrogant voice, "So what do you think? Would you become my bodyguard? Such an opportunity is rare. In fact, in this world, the archbishop is an individual of the same stature as the pope, and in the Holy Empire, the archbishop's influence is second to none. So turning down such a person's offer is truly rare." But Ryu quickly replied, "I refuse." The archbishop, who expected acceptance, was dumbfounded by the refusal and inquired, "What did you say?" Ryu replied, "I appreciate the offer, but I'm not confident in protecting someone. I apologize. In fact, refusing to build a relationship with the archbishop when any connection would be beneficial. It was an action Ryu wouldn't normally take, but this time he had to refuse, because to obtain the rune of the future, he couldn't afford to be seen as an underling of the archbishop. Then the archbishop said, "Ha, you're different from the others. Everyone else tries to grovel at my feet." And he inquired, "I haven't heard your name yet?" Instead of a name, Ryu had set his title to public, the last time regressor. Ryu revealed a title he hadn't shown to anyone else to the archbishop. It's all to obtain the rune of the future. And Ryu said to himself, after all, the archbishop is as good as dead. As soon as the title, "The Last Time Regressor," appeared above Ryu's head, the archbishop's gaze changed. He didn't look up, so it wasn't the title he saw. It was something he felt instinctively. Ryu said to himself, "Indeed, there's a reaction. Is it because he's really an NPC? In fact, when titles change, those from the other worlds instinctively know who the person is and what kind of reputation they hold. And it feels as if that setting applies to the worldview." Then the archbishop asked, "What is your name?" Ryu replied, "The name isn't important. Who I am is what matters." The archbishop inquired, "Did you really regress through time?" Ryu nodded. There was no need to say more. And Ryu said to himself, "The archbishop already sees me as a transcendental being who traverses time," and there was no need to read his thoughts, as the change in his tone made it clear, and he said to think that a time regressor really exists. Indeed, one lives and learns. Now I understand how you possess such great power. Then the archbishop shook his head with a glint in his eyes and asked, "Are you an emissary of Kronos?" Ryu nodded again. There was no reason to deny being seen as a divine emissary. The archbishop took Ryu's words as gospel truth, and the title of the last time regressor alone was proof enough of his transcendent status. Then the archbishop said, "Ah, emissary of Kronos, meeting you is the fortune of my lifetime," Ryu said with a somewhat blunt expression. "That it is." Seeing this, the archbishop's mind raced, and he said to himself, "Did I say something wrong? And as an archbishop serving a deity, how should I behave upon meeting a divine emissary? Surely it's important to make a good impression." Having thought this far, the archbishop smiled slyly and said, "I have a tribute to offer you," and he pulled something out of his robes. As soon as Ryu accepted it, a message appeared. "You have received the rune fragment of future as a reward from the Grand Archbishop Laver. You use the rune fragment of future. The rune automatically engraves itself onto the player's body." Then a smile formed on Ryu Min's lips upon obtaining what he wanted. The archbishop inquired, "How is it? A fitting item for a divine emissary, wouldn't you say?" Ryu smiled and said, "Indeed, I am satisfied." And an information window appeared before him. The rune of future effect sees the future of the target 7 seconds ahead. The future can change from time to time. Ryu immediately saw the archbishop's future. In 7 seconds, the archbishop was already a cold corpse. It was a necessary action for Ryu's survival. The archbishop asked again, "How is it?" Ryu replied, "I am satisfied. As a reward, I shall send you back to the gods."